Hey everybody, welcome into Thursday's edition of To The Point Podcast, and it is a Big Money Friday on a Thursday. Matt Wright will be joining me in about 15 minutes time, where we will get into all the news and notes from around the sports world, including betting lines for the Week 5 games in the National Football League. We're going to touch on some interesting college stories, some big games. This coming weekend, I want to get Matt's reaction to a number of games from last weekend where he didn't join last week, but there was some big upsets. TCU put a beating on Oklahoma. Baylor, a couple teams we've been high on that aren't playing extremely well, so I want to get his comments on that. And we got some stories before he joins today, and we get into Thursday Night Football. We got some news and notes off the top. Let's start with the NHL. National Hockey League, Jason Robertson, a winger for the Dallas Stars, a man who's had 40 goals, over a point per game last season, 79 points in 76 games, signed a contract with the Dallas Stars last evening, ending his holdout, so to speak, as he was a restricted free agent. He was waiting on a contract. He is now headed back to Dallas. He will join their training camp, and he gets a 4-year deal of $31 million, $7.5 million per season. A great deal for Robertson, and I don't mind this contract at all for the Dallas Stars either. He's had one great year. I don't love one great year. I mentioned the Tage Thompson contract as a comparable lately. Tage Thompson got 7 years at over $7 million. I thought that was an overpayment. I wouldn't have given him that much money for what the production he's done so far and just his impact as an NHL player. To me, Jason Robertson had a really strong rookie season. He had an elite second, and I think he can only continue to get better. Little Joe Pavelski remains in Dallas. Rupe Hintz remains in Dallas. Seguin is still there, Jamie Benn. But Jason Robertson is a foundational piece. Jason Robertson is proving that he can be one of the best players on a very good team. Dallas is not a loaded team. They don't have a superstar, so to speak. Where Seguin used to be one, you could argue Ben, and Ben's one, and Art Ross. They don't have a superstar currently, but they got Robertson, they got Hintz, they got Miro Heiskanen on the back end. They got Jake Ottinger, who got another really good deal. So I think Dallas is in this middle pack where I'll talk about the Central Division tomorrow when we do our divisional breakdown. But I like what they're doing. I like that they're building around a new core. They had those days of Modano and Hull, and you move those guys into Ed Belfour. But since then, Dallas has really been a forgotten franchise. It's been a team that that is in Dallas, but people don't care about it because they watch the Cowboys first or they watch the Texas Rangers second. And then you look around and you say, oh yeah, then the Stars play here. And the jerseys are bad. There's just things about Dallas that aren't that appealing. But I think the Stars are building a program that can win. I like their coach, Peter DeBoer. Yes, he's coached at a lot of different locations. But something I can say about Peter DeBoer, no matter what you say about, okay, he took Gerard Gallant's job. I get it. People love Gerard Gallant. I think Gerard Gallant is a good coach as well. But I also think Pete DeBoer has been to multiple Stanley Cup finals. Pete DeBoer has improved every team he's joined. He's gotten success everywhere he's gone, and I just have a whole lot of respect for what he's done. Stanley Cup final in San Jose, Stanley Cup final in New Jersey. Let me tell you, since Peter DeBoer left New Jersey, that franchise has never been the same. Since Peter DeBoer was fired by the San Jose Sharks, they have not made the playoffs. They have not come close. I look at these two franchises, their coaching was the most fundamental step they had. It was one of the only building blocks. New Jersey, I like my Devils. I watched them a ton last year. They didn't have a whole lot of foundational pieces. They give out bad contracts. Peter DeBoer doesn't give out those contracts. San Jose, it's not my problem that you give Erik Karlsson way too much money and you give Brent Burns way too much money, and you sign Marc-Edouard Vlasic to a long-term contract that makes no sense. So, to me, Peter DeBoer has been a constant success everywhere he's gone. They didn't like that they fired Gerard Gallant in Vegas. Get over it. He had success. That team had more success the following season. Gerard Gallant, first-round exit. his second season in Vegas. That third year, they get back to a conference final. Last year, it went to hell because Vegas is in cap hell, which, once again, is not the coach's fault. I'm a Peter DeBoer guy. I like his coaching philosophies. Yes, he's a coach that's gotten multiple opportunities, but I think he's one that's deserved. When you bounce around and you don't have any success, when you're a coach like Lindy Ruff getting another chance in New Jersey, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. He was in Buffalo, okay? Did you get to a Stanley Cup final in those early 2000s? No, and you had a really good team. The Sabres were good with Danny Briere and Maxim Afinogenov and Chris Drury. Patrick Lalime in the net. They had good squads in Buffalo. Ryan Miller. But they never got over the hump, and yet he's a retread. He gets another job. Alain Vigneault seems to get more. You see these guys float around the league. When you have success at multiple locations, it tells me you can coach a wide variety of players. You can have success with a wide variety of personalities. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not just, I think this coach is good, let's hire. No, he is good. He does have success. He can turn it around. Jason Robertson, good contract. Jay Gottinger, good contract. Rupe Hintz, good contract. When you're a small market team, you need to give out good contracts. And did they give more money to Jason Robertson than he's worth currently? Yeah, I'd say so. But that's the price of doing business. You want to keep people from leaving Dallas, give them a little more money. You have the carrot of no state taxes, which, believe me, you don't need to sell me on moving to Dallas. I think you do in the NHL because it's not a big media market. People don't care enough about hockey in Dallas. Okay. Sign me up to go live in Miami. I could give a shit if people give a crap about me ever. I like going into Whole Foods without people knowing me. Maybe not everybody's like me, but I think you like your privacy. You don't always need people to tell you, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to set it up. I think people like that. So, to me, Dallas is having good steps. I say this all the time. You have a goaltender that can be a foundational goalie, that can be a franchise goaltender for years to come, and he's under 25. People will come to your franchise. People will start to look at you because they know you have a chance. Life's about money, but it's also about winning. You can look at somewhere and think it's glamorous. You can look at New York. You can look at Toronto. There's these two good teams. But if shit hits the fan, you fire a GM and things go haywire in the next couple of years for either of these franchises, who's got more stability? I'll tell you who. Dallas, because they have a goaltender. They have young pieces signed up. You can go join a contender. You have a goalie that you trust. Stars aren't going to win a Stanley Cup this year. Won't win a Stanley Cup next year, but could they compete in a few years if they get another really good draft pick, they're aggressive in the open market? I think they could. I give credit to the teams that try to keep winning, that try to get better. Dallas is doing that. Jim Nill, Peter DeBoer. Stability at GM, stability at head coach. I like what they're doing in Dallas. Baseball. Couple news and notes here. Mike Matheny, former World Series winning manager for the St. Louis Cardinals, was the manager for the Kansas City Royals for the last 3 years. You might have forgot that because I nearly did. Kansas City's been irrelevant since 2015 when they won the World Series. They've been crap ever since, and they lost almost 100 games for another year. They're in the American League Central, which is forgettable in and of itself because you have the Guardians and you have the White Sox and Detroit Tigers, who have been terrible for seemingly a decade now. And somehow in that crap division, the Royals still find a way to lose all these games. Mike Matheny done after 3 years. I don't know if this helps. This is something teams do. I think Mike Matheny is a good manager. He won a World Series. Can you say that for a lot of people around the league? You're in a bad spot. You're in a position where small markets don't spend money. It's tough for managers that go from someplace that's willing to spend money, that wants to win, to go to a small market that doesn't really give a shit. Kansas City hopes to be competitive every 5 years. If you listen to David Sampson, which I do, I've had on the show before, he's talked about you're in a small market, you're basically competing for 5 years, where in those 2 of every 5 years, you're a competitive team and you're going for it. When you look at the Marlins, yeah, they've had some tough times, but they won 2 World Series in an 8-year period. A small market team. They won obviously with the Expos, but that was technically the Marlins, and then you win it in 03 with that team. Kansas City, small market, wins a World Series in 2015. They're not competitive since. But in baseball, it's incredibly hard to win when you are a small market. Look who's made the playoffs this year. Padres, highest payroll in baseball. Dodgers, number 2. Yankees, number 3. The outlier, the Red Sox, number 4. Haha. If you don't spend money, you need to draft extremely well. Houston's not a big market baseball team. How did they become competitive? They drafted extremely well. They got Jose Altuve. They got Bregman. They got Correa. And then they drafted well again to remain competitive by not paying that much money. Are they going to pay Verlander $30 million a year? Yeah. You got to keep your big players. You want to stay competitive. You got to do it. But Houston was abysmal, and they've remained competitive by just being smarter than other teams, quite frankly. Did they cheat? Yes. But since then, they've been to 2 World Series since the cheating scandal. The Yankees haven't been to a World Series since 2009. The Dodgers have won 1 World Series in the last 30-plus years. The Mets have been to 1 World Series in the last 30. This shit happens. In baseball, to be competitive, you need to spend money or be a lot smarter than everybody else. And it's tough to be smarter than everybody else. To bank on your brain at all times, believe you me, I know it's not that easy. And if you got a kooky brain like myself, you might get lucky every now and then, but it's not always easy getting lucky. Pun intended. But Mike Matheny's out. Also, in the super interesting American League Central, Tony La Russa, another World Series winning manager, was let go by the Chicago White Sox, or I guess you could say he was relieved of his duties because he said he wasn't coming back because he's got a heart condition. I've said this before on the show, the Chicago White Sox are the single biggest disappointment in Major League Baseball this year. They should have won the American League Central. They should have won 100 games, and yet they finished 81-81, 500 for a team that should have coasted to the American League Central title. And I'll even put it this way: they should have a bye in the playoffs. They should be sitting with Houston. They're better than the Yankees on paper. But yet, no, the White Sox don't even make the playoffs. Biggest disappointment: La Russa's out. Why he got the job, I don't know. He's 80 years old. He looks like he's dying every time he's on the sending pitchers out there. But yeah, the White Sox, big disappointment. Matheny's out and Tony La Russa's out. American League Central, maybe the most irrelevant division in all sports. But it's good to point out the news. I see we got our guest on the line. He's back after a big trip down to Boston. Saw the Boston College opener, Wright, or was it Boston University?
Yeah, didn't quite make her to Boston College. Unfortunately, the game was at the same time as our game. So and it looked like a great game. Boston College won by 1 there in the fourth quarter. So it would have been great to see. But we were lucky enough to take the team to the Boston University Terriers home opener.
Right.
Very cool atmosphere. The band was going. The place was packed. It was a great time for our team. Great bonding. Great for the kids to see, kind of, because we have players on our team who some want to play D1 one day and have goals and aspirations of playing in that league. So it was great for them to see kind of the competition, like see, what it takes to get to that level. And it was a lot of fun. It was a good trip. We went 3-1, and it was a great first weekend away with the CHA Eagles.
How's it been with this new? You've coached obviously minor hockey and done some things like that. How's the transition been for you so far, going to the new Champions Hockey endeavor?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a different change. It's it's time consuming for sure, but in a good way. Very passionate about it. The one nice thing is we have a great bunch of kids there. We have a great bunch of kids who want to get better, who come to the rink every day, ready to get better, ready to learn, ready to listen, ready to compete. And that makes it fun. Doesn't feel like you're working when you're going on the ice with it, when everyone wants to be there. Everyone's pulling the rope in the same direction. And these kids all, like I said, they have goals, they have aspirations, and so far so good. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be ups and downs, but all in all, we're really excited about how it's going so far. We have a weekend off this weekend. Some of our players are at the ACC for Team Newfoundland, Team New Brunswick. And then I'm actually way down there tomorrow morning for I'm coaching the U14 Team New Brunswick male team. So it's busy, and then back starting next week, we're back on the road in New Hampshire for 4 more games. So very busy, but very exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you on that. I've known you're coaching this weekend for a while, but I mean, you're still a young guy, man, and for you to be coaching, a U14 team at a big, big tournament, Team New Brunswick playing against, like you said, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, PEI, all the above. I mean, that's a big deal. So I know you're a busy guy and you probably don't get to reflect a whole lot, but you should be really proud that you're succeeding and you're being able to do this right now. So congratulations to you on all your hard work.
Awesome, buddy. I really appreciate it. No, it should be an exciting weekend. We have a great bunch of kids. We're going down there for to hopefully win an Atlantic Championship. We're going to be competing. I think we have a team that can compete for it. So myself and the other coaches, we're looking forward to getting to work there. We have practice tomorrow morning and prepare for a big one starting off against Nova Scotia tomorrow night. And that's always a test when you got to play Nova Scotia. So no, looking forward to it, but also looking forward to in between games, catching up on some football and some baseball. It's a busy weekend for sports.
Yeah.
Probably one of the busier weekends, I'd say, of the sporting season, and really excited for that as well.
What do you make of the baseball schedule? It starts 1 o'clock first pitch. That's an early start. I like the 4 games. You get spread them out a little bit. What do you make of their schedule and when the Jays are playing?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If the Jays weren't playing a West Coast team, they probably would be on at 1. They never get the primetime game in this. We know that. It's always going to be 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I'm happy with the 4 o'clock. It's actually in between our games. I might be able to catch a little bit of that. But I'm excited for the Jays. I think the Jays are playing their best baseball going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I like the pitching matchups. Seattle has some good pitchers too. It's going to be exciting. The place is going to be electric at Rogers Center. This 4 games in one day is a lot, but it's good for. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, you're going to get to see everyone on one day.
Right.
Match the timings, who's playing when. That's always questionable to say the least. But I do like the setup of having everyone Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Do you like the 2 out of 3, or would you prefer the? I like the 1 game personally. I found it really interesting. That game I look forward to it every year. You have 162 of some of it crap for a lot of baseball. I look forward to the 1 game play-in game, if you will. What do you make of the new 2 out of 3 setup?
We both know why they're doing it. It's a money thing. It's always about the money. The only thing I don't like about it is the road team doesn't get any home games.
I agree.
I don't understand that. If you're going to do a best 2 out of 3, they have to get 1 home game. I do not like that it's 3, that it's such a disadvantage, because especially in the wild card, some of those wild card games are so close. Like
yes.
I don't like that setup. I do understand the best 2 out of 3, especially in baseball 162. I mean, I do understand why they do it. I myself love the 1 game. I think 1 game is so exciting. Best pitcher against best pitcher. I see why they do 2 or 3. I don't like the fact that if it does go to a game 3, that it's in the same building. I think you could do game 1 and 2, one place, and then if it goes game 3, the road team gets home and field for game 3.
Right. Yeah, I don't love it either. I find it a bit hokey, but obviously it's advantage Blue Jays, advantage Cardinals, advantage Mets, and advantage Guardians. The Mets have won 100 games. Yeah. This is the 2nd straight year a wildcard team has won 100 games and has to play. Now it was a 1 game for the Dodgers last year. I think they won it in extras. It came down to the wire anyway, I remember. And now the Mets, who won 100 games, now have to play the Padres in this best 2 out of 3. Do you have a problem with that?
No, because I don't think it's going to change. So I think we're just going to have to accept it. I
Right.
don't see how they get around this because they're trying to add. The only way they can do it is add another team,
Yeah.
another team, and
I
then
don't want
it's
that.
even more, which we don't want that, right? So I don't have a big problem with it because I don't think it's going to change. The bigger problem I have is the Mets need to just look in the mirror. They had a 10.5 game lead at one point. If you want
Yeah.
to blame anyone about this situation, you can look right in the mirror on that. They had a stranglehold of the division. They let it slip away.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, you get to play the Braves in the last weekend of the series, and you get swept. And you had the perfect pitching matchup set up. Looking at these 4 series, which one is the most compelling?
Well, for me, I'm a Blue Jays fan, so I have to look at this one. Just strictly fandom. I like it.
Yeah,
Just for the fact, I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I do
no,
believe they're going to be
I
close
agree.
games. I
Yeah,
think it's probably going to go 3. I don't want it to, but I think it does go 3.
right.
Man, I don't something about the Mets series though. I'm really excited about Mets and Padres,
I,
like we just talked about. I think it's a slugfest. I think you got 2 really good teams going at it, and arguably 2 teams that could win the World Series going at it in the wild card.
yeah, that would be the one for me. I think the two out west. The Cardinals series is less interesting because I think the Cardinals are a lot better than the Phillies. But
Yeah.
again, it's the best 2 out of 3, so the Phillies can end up winning it because Bryce Harper could get hot, and then eventually you find a way. But yeah, the Jays is interesting because, like you said, you got Manoah and Castillo, are 2 of the best pitchers in baseball, and you followed up with Logan Gilbert, who's a stud. People might not know him because he pitches out west, but the dude can pitch. And you got Gosman in game 2. If it goes 3, the question everybody's been asking,
Yeah.
Ryder, do you go with Jose Barrios or do you go with chicken strips?
It's a tough question, right? Because Chicken Strips has been more reliable all year, but he's probably only going to give you 5 or 6 innings.
Right.
Barrios could give you 7 or 8. He could give you 1.5.
Yeah.
It's one of those things they were talking about it the other day on Overdrive. Chicken strips is a great meal.
Yeah.
Everyone loves chicken strips. It's not the best meal you can have. It's not the worst meal you can have. You're happy with chicken strips. I eat chicken strips all the time.
Right.
But sometimes you want to try the filet and hope it
Right.
turns out really good, because if it does turn out good, it's going to be better than the chicken strips. I
Right.
think you got to go to Barrios. I don't want to be in that situation where it is a game 3, but I think you got to go Barrios. I'm glad I'm not making this decision. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I think we'll know who makes decisions on on the Jays in particular. I already think I know who makes the decision. But if it is a game 3 and Barrios starts, that is Ross Atkins telling John Schneider who's starting the game. Because I think if John Schneider had his way, it would be strips. But Barrios has the big contract. He's the guy they banked on. I think Ross Atkins. There's no way Ross Atkins is not having Barrios pitch game 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Barrios. But like I said, I hope we're not in that situation. But regardless, it's going to be an awesome weekend of baseball.
Robbie Ray, game 3, tight pants for Seattle.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll go Robbie Ray. We didn't get a chance to see Robbie Ray earlier in the year in Toronto, but I think you could see a very hostile crowd on
Yeah.
Robbie Ray, which would make for an exciting atmosphere. I think one thing that baseball doesn't get enough credit for is how crazy their fans get in postseason. Those buildings
Agreed.
are electric. It's tough to see because it's over a span of 162. There's a lot of games where you're watching baseball. There's half a stadium full. But in playoffs, it's jammed and it's exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Does a road team win a series?
Yes, there'll be one. There'll be one for sure. I don't know who it is yet. I don't think it's the Phillies. I really hope it's not I really hope it's not Seattle. I
Right.
think San Diego could upset the Mets, and you could see a crazy Mets fans. I think it'd be exciting to see the Mets fans just lose their minds with San Diego winning that
Steve
series.
Cohen's gonna fire everybody if they lose that series. My God.
I want to see. I actually do want to see San Diego win that series because I think it'd just be damn right exciting to see the Mets fans lose their mind.
Who's winning the World Series?
World Series. Oh, geez. I mean, the Dodgers are such a good baseball team. They have been for years. The Braves, the fact that the Braves got not having to play in the wild card is massive.
Big deal. Yeah.
I don't see the Yankees winning. I just think they've had such a bad second half of their year. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see the Jays there. I'd love to see the Jays play for World Series. I don't think they're there yet. I think they're one arm away from being there. I just don't think they're there yet. I hope I'm wrong, but I got to watch Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers pitch when I was it was 2015. Honestly, it changed my life. Watching that game. It was the best baseball game I ever watched. I have a soft spot for the Dodgers because I think they're just so good. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
I got the Bravos repeating, but yeah,
not surprising.
I hope it's Dodgers Braves in the NLCS. Quite frankly, I'd love the grudge match would be a great story. I think that's something baseball would be all for. Mets Dodgers probably what they prefer on paper, but I think Braves would be fun with the Dodgers too because just those teams have a lot of history. Kenley Jansen's now in the Braves bullpen. He left from the Dodgers. So there's some storylines there. Before we get to Thursday Night Football, I wanted to have this chat with you because you weren't on last week. And I wanted to get your take on this injury from a coaching perspective because the last 14 days we've heard and we've seen the Tua injury. We've heard people's opinions on it. I talked about before the Thursday night game that I don't think he should have been playing, and unfortunately I was proven right. But I you're around kids. You are an authority figure. I just wanted to get not even just your opinion and your thoughts on how that was handled and how you would have approached it from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, well, it's actually, we actually had a player go down with a concussion this past weekend in Boston. Okay. Sunday morning, got hit real hard. Big hit, clean hit. Two big boys running into each other, and he landed on the ice head first. And he got up, made it to the bench, sat down. I was like, how you doing? And he goes, my head hurts. Right there, done. You're done for the game. Right away. And our team physician checked him out, and you could tell that he had a concussion right away. And Tua's looked 10 times worse than this guy coming to the bench.
Right.
So the 201 is just mind-blowing to me because what's the point of having all this emphasis on concussions over the last 10 years when anyone who hasn't even watched football can look and say that guy has a concussion? Like, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that guy had a concussion. I think the doctor should have got fired, but I don't think the doctor's the only one who should pay for this decision. Agreed. I think the doctor was probably put on a spot where he had to put him back in, or he probably would have lost his job the other way.
Right.
I think that it was crazy the fact that he went back in that game. And because, like I said, anyone could see that the guy had a concussion. Even if he didn't have a concussion, it looked like he had a concussion. So you can't play him anymore. If that's the quarterback, he's not going back in. If it's any other player on the field, he's not going back in. But the fact that the quarterback is such a staple of the game and such an important position and such the biggest position in pro sports really is quarterback. That's the only reason he was back in that game. And if the Fish aren't a good team, he's not back in that game.
Agreed.
It sucks that it's come to this, but it was so many wrong decisions on so many ways, and there should be more people paying than what's happening right now, in my opinion. And our player's going to be okay. He's going through concussion protocol. He sat out this week. He's doing all the right things, and that's how it should be, right? Where there's the fact that he went back in this game, like that, if he got hit again, he could have died out there. So It was very sad to see.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think much of Mike McDaniel when it happened, but I listened to Overdrive on Monday, and I know you listen to it often. Mm-hmm. And Luke Wilson was on, who's great on TV, by the way. And he talked about he had a concussion in 2016, and Pete Carroll sat him down and would not let him play. And it was a playoff game. And they could have used Luke, but he told him, I can't let you go in that game because you have a brain injury. I physically can't do it. And that showed it's sign of a coach that cared more about the person than the product or the company or however you want to phrase it. Where Mike McDaniel, I think, kind of skated here because it wasn't even a debate. It was like Tua starting Thursday night. Okay, you're not talking to a physician. I don't know who the Miami Dolphins doctors are, but hearing how Pete Carroll handled Luke Wilson and how Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins handled Tua, it just sounds like two completely different operations operating in the same league.
Yeah, it's tough because we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. It's tough as a coach if people are telling him, "Hey, listen," if people you trust are saying, "Listen, he's good to go, good to play."
Right.
No, it's hard to say no. Okay, it's hard to go again. Like for me, for instance, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to our physician, and our physician says, "No, he's good to go back in," I have to trust the physician because that's their livelihood. That's what they're paid to do. It's like when someone pays me to go on the ice and teach their kids. That's what I'm paid to do, right? So it's tough that way. I just think I think two wrongs don't make a right in this situation. There was a lot of wrongs, unfortunately.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I hope that Tua recovers and is back on the field healthy. And I hope something like this doesn't happen again because this was hopefully an eye-opening thing for the league because they really fumbled the bag on this one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, thank you for sharing that story. Let's get back to Thursday night football because we got a game tonight. It's not a
Yes.
game that I'm really interested in. It's not a game that I particularly care to watch, but I'll watch every snap of it because I'm an addict. But we got Colts at Broncos. Both teams are missing their starting running backs, who you could argue are the best players on their respective teams. You got a
Yep.
Colts offense that tight ends catch every touchdown. You got the Broncos offense, which is as ugly as it gets over the first 4 weeks. I got the line tonight, Broncos -3. Is that what you have it on your scorecard,
I
Ryan?
have -3. Yes.
Where are you leaning tonight? What are you thinking about this Thursday night game?
So, like you said, this one, I'm not chomping at the bit to watch this one,
Yeah.
but I am going to watch every snap as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really into this one, I'm going an underdog. I'm going Colts. I'm on your Colts. I think Denver's a better team, but
Yeah.
I'm on your Colts. I think Denver's been just a tire fire, and I think if they lose this game, it's just going to add to it.
Right.
And I'm on the Colts, and I'm on Matt Ryan to throw for over 300. That's my bet tonight. Ryan is gonna ball out tonight, and I know they can only throw their tight ends because their wide receivers haven't caught a ball all year.
Yeah.
But I am on the Colts, and I am on Ryan over 300 because I just want something exciting in this game because I think this game could end up being the worst
13-10.
Thursday nighter of the year potentially.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Colts because they did have a big win a couple weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a big game for both teams if you look at the record.
Yeah.
Both teams need this win, but I'm on the Colts.
Yeah, so we got no Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, no Javonte Williams for the Broncos. Also, Randy Gregory is out
Yes.
tonight for the Broncos. So one of their key edge rushers is done. I mean, my Colts have just let me down so much. They hurt me. Michael Pittman Jr. is out in an island by himself. They got nobody else who can separate, nobody else that can catch a damn ball. And I agree with Tom Brady. He said today there's been a lot of bad football so far this year. Yeah, he's right. There's a lot of bad teams out there. It's just a lot of average play. I'll start by saying this. I think Naheem Hines on the over total yards is something I'd look into tonight. He's the backup running back for the Colts. He's going to get majority of the touches. They activated Philip Lindsay. I don't think he'll get many carries, but I'd look at Naheem Hines on the over for total yards tonight.
Yes. It's only like 40 maybe.
Yeah,
Right around 40 yards.
he'll catch 10 passes tonight because they got no wide receivers. They'll throw 40 slants to him tonight. I can't pick the Colts.
No.
I can't because I just the Broncos should win this game easily. Let's be honest. Even without Javonte Williams, I mean, maybe Melvin Gordon will fumble because he loves to fumble. He has a knack for an untimely fumble. But I have to take the Broncos. But I hate picking the favorites, so I don't know. I might just take a bunch of props tonight.
That's where I was at with this one because I do believe Denver should win this game. I do believe Denver's a better team, but I need a little excitement for Thursday night, so I'm going to take an underdog. This is a game I'd probably stay away from if it was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But the fact it's only the only one Thursday, we both know we're both going to be on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for an underdog, and hopefully with this prop that I have with Ryan over 300, we're going to see some guys, some gunslinging tonight.
If the Broncos lose tonight, how much panic is there in Denver?
I think there's already panic. I think there's panic already because I think they thought their offense was going to be much better than it is.
Right.
So I think the panic's already there. And if they lose this game, it's definitely there because this is one that you should win.
Yeah.
Like they already fumbled the bag on the first, what it was, Sunday night or Monday night of the year. Against Geno Smith, it was just tearing it up.
Balling out.
Geno, he is just loving life right now. I think he's rated number 1 in fantasy for quarterbacks, which is just mind blowing. But they need to win this game. As much as I am taking the Colts, I do believe Denver should win this game.
Right. Yeah, Russell Wilson doesn't look good making that $40 million, and Geno Smith has the same record, and Geno Smith has a way better completion percentage, QBR, everything. Every stat, he's better than Russell Wilson this year.
For sure. This is a game I'm betting because the odds are just too good for the Colts not to bet on them. That's why I'm taking the Colts. And Denver's only paying 155. So, like, the odd books are the sports makers are saying they should win this game pretty easily, but I just have no faith in them, and I don't really have any faith in the Colts either. So that's why I'm taking the underdog.
Yeah, I like that play. I might do that now that you say it. I know if I'll bet on the Colts, I'll just be disappointed because I have been so far this year. Another London game, Ryder. Little Sunday morning, London, 10:30 kickoff. Green Bay and the Giants. 2 3-1 teams on paper, an intriguing game. I have Giants +8. Is that your line?
I got +8.5.
+8. Oh, went up. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, +8.5. What do you make of this one?
I don't really know on this one either where I'm standing. Green Bay's, they won the other night. They just haven't looked great in their wins. And the Giants are, they're 3-1. Jets are 2-2. What's going on here in New York?
Yeah.
For the Giants, I think this game's way more important for the Giants than it is for Green Bay. And here's why. Because I think if the Giants can win this game, then they really have a very realistic shot at making the playoffs.
Agreed.
Where Green Bay, I feel like, can lose this game and still make the playoffs. Exactly. So I think it's more important for the Giants. I 2 weeks in a row with the 10:30 games. I don't know how I feel about it. I know they're trying to get in England. I know the games sell out. I don't know about back-to-back weeks. Seems like a lot. I'm not sold on this one. The 10:30 start, honestly, like, as much as I love football, I don't really like the morning game. I like getting my morning. I like getting into the routine of things. I like watching my breakdowns before. I like getting my day kind of some stuff done before I need to sit down on the couch all day. So I can't really get behind the 10:30 games.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially when you're up till like 2:00 in the morning watching college the night before.
That's the other problem.
Yeah, it's a scramble. It's a scramble to get everything in. I don't disagree with the London thing. It's a bit much back-to-back weeks. I will say the games are better, so at least it's not the Jags of old when they were terrible, and you got Jags against the Colts in London. Like, who could care less about that? But Daniel Jones is limited at practice. He got banged up, so he likely will play, but who knows? I mean, Green Bay didn't cover against your Patriots last week. With Bailey Zappi out there throwing touchdowns when the clock expired, but we'll look past that. But, yeah, I mean, I'd probably take Green Bay -8, but again, Giants aren't horrible. They're not great because they've beaten the Bears and they beat Carolina, who looks god-awful. But Green Bay still has to prove some stuff to me because every time I think they're taking a step ahead, they take 2 steps back.
Oh, 100%. Just when you think they have something going, they just decide, oh, it's going good, let's change it up.
Right.
I still think one thing that Rodgers has started to use other receivers. He used Lazard a little more. He's used their rookie they drafted. He's starting to use a little bit more of the field, but guys are still dropping balls, so you can tell he's not very happy.
Yeah.
Um, with the Giants, like you said, Daniel Jones bit banged up. That really hurts because he does like to use his legs. So if he
Yeah.
can't use his legs at 100%, that's a very big loss because he's not a guy stand in the pocket and throw all day. That's not his. That's not what got him there. Uh, I do like Green Bay on this one, but like I said, I think I'm going to stay away from it just because it's on too early in the morning where I got. And I'm this weekend I'm coaching as well, so 10:30 I'm staying away from that one. And I just don't have a good feel for either team, honestly. I just don't know where either team's at. Even though the Giants are 3-1, I think they're realistically more 2-2.
Yeah.
So, but it's a big game for the Giants. Like I said, if they win this, they go to 4-1. They're putting themselves in a real nice spot.
Cleveland at the Chargers. Chargers -3. Interesting game. Cleveland's coming off another brutal loss where they lost to your Falcons, who are now 2-2. And the Chargers, Houston nearly covered. Like they were right in that game till the bitter end against the Chargers. So two teams that are still trying to find themselves for sure. Who do you like in this game?
Is it crazy to say that Cleveland could be 4-0?
They
But they're
should be.
2-2?
They should be 4-0.
They should be 4-0, and I think the Chargers are trying to find themselves for sure. I think
Yeah.
the Chargers are better than their record. They've also played some good teams, but they've also haven't looked good against the weaker teams they've played. Like you
Right.
said, two teams trying to find themselves. I think very important game for both teams. And I mean, the way Cleveland, people keep saying like, "Oh, let's just wait for Watson to get back." It's like you don't know what Watson's going to be. He hasn't
Right.
thrown a ball in 2 years, so Brissett's playing pretty well. I think.
Yeah.
I think he's doing more than what they expected. Another game where I'm not super excited about, but it's a big game for both teams. 2-2. This is a critical week for teams because you want to go. By the time you get through week 5, you either want to be at worst 2-3. You don't want to be
Yes.
1-4. Obviously, definitely don't want to be 0-5, but at least at 2-3, you're still in an all right spot. But 1-4, you're really paddling up water with a broken paddle. So big game for both teams.
Yeah, I hate betting favorites, but I think this line is a little low. I think the Chargers are a lot better
Yeah.
than Cleveland. Let's be honest. I mean, yes, the Chargers are missing Rashawn Slater at left tackle, and Joey Bosa is out. They're missing some really important players. But Herbert's still at quarterback against Brissett. That's clearly you have Keenan Allen. I think they got better weapons. I would take the Chargers in this game. They're at home. It's -3. It's not -7 or -8 for the Chargers. I think that's a low number, and they're only getting 3 points at home for a favorite. That's what you get when you're a home favorite. So clearly the books don't love the Chargers, but I think this is a game that's a little you can sneaky one. You'll win this game by a touchdown. I think
I should have touched on that earlier. I'm definitely on the Chargers here because, for everything you just said, the Chargers are a better football team, and with only a -3 at home, and you have a better team at -3, I think you got to take that favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in saying that, I'm taking the underdog tonight at -3, but that's for a whole different reason.
Thursday night. There's an
exactly.
Amazon Thursday night.
Exactly. So yes, Chargers for sure will be on my ticket -3.
Off topic for a second, but do you like Herbie doing the NFL games?
He's still getting better. Ask me. I guess this would be a fair question for ask at the end of the year because
Right.
you need a full year to really figure out, the ups and downs, learn the job even more because it's a different job calling the NFL than calling college football.
100%.
Two different sports in the same sport.
Yeah.
I like him so far. I mean, I'm a big Herb Street guy. I know you are too. I'm
Yeah.
currently reading his book right now. So I
Good
want
book.
him to succeed. I like him. I don't love him yet. Ask me again at the end of the year. I do think he'll be back. And I think it's just another, if he can get better, I'm not saying he's bad right now, but if he can get to the spot where I know he wants to be, he's a competitive person. He's going to, try to get better. It's just great for football to have another good, solid football mind calling games.
Agreed. I think he's been pretty decent. So, like I said, I think every week they get better. So, Al Michaels doesn't hurt to have the legend sitting beside you. Minnesota at Chicago. Minnesota, a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, Minnesota still haven't quite figured them out. I think both teams are 2-2.
No, Minnie's 3-1.
Minnie's 3-1, and Chicago's 2-2.
Correct.
I think Minnie's a much better team than Chicago. I think Chicago's a phony 2-2. I think you would agree.
The worst
on that.
2-2 of all time.
Yeah, it's crazy that they are 2-2.
Yeah.
I like Minnesota in this game to honestly demolish them. I really believe they have to go out and beat this team. And if they beat this team by, I could see this being a 20-point game. I really do.
Yeah, they're so much better than the Bears. And the Bears defense is pretty good, but they're averaging 114 passing yards a game, the Bears, which is just incredible. Fields has nobody to throw to. He doesn't look confident himself. I mean, that whole team is just a flat out disaster right now. So I'm with you. Jefferson found it again last week. Kirk Cousins squeaked out a win in London. Doesn't matter how you win it. You're 3-1. You could be 4-1 out of your first 5 games with a win against the Lions, Green Bay, and the Bears. All 3 divisional teams. That's impressive, regardless of who you're playing. So I think Minnesota would be stoked with a rookie head coach to be 4-1 after their first 5 games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But know what's crazy to say? And we're seeing this more and more, and I think you touched on it earlier about how bad the football's been, that we are calling these teams tire fires disasters, and they're 2-2. Because there's so many teams right now that are 2-2, 1-3, even 3-1, and we're like, they are just not looking good. It's been a weird year where I think last year we were talking about how good the football's been. I feel like the football hasn't been very good.
No, it hasn't been. It has multiple offenses. I would say defense is beating offense so far this year. Like, defenses have been playing so much better than some of the bad offense we've seen so far. And maybe that's just defense isn't that good, just the offense is that bad. I mean, just watch a Steelers game and you'll see some bad offense. Interesting game here. Your New England Patriots against the Detroit Lions. Detroit is +3. 2 1-3 teams. I'm surprised Detroit's not the favorite, quite frankly. And I'll start off by saying I'm hammering the Detroit Lions this weekend because I think they're better than your Patriots.
And this is where I'm at. I am in a tough position because I love Detroit to outright win this game.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. I think they should be a 3 to 5 point favorite, even though they're 1-3. I just think, Mac Jones is still questionable for the game. And even if he comes back, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Their offense is just not there. And they're a rebuilding team. They're not. I think last year was, honestly, it just showed that they got, a little lucky. I just don't think they're there. I haven't seen anything so far this year that's given me any hope in the Patriots to make a run and string some wins together. I love the Lions in this game. I hate to do it. We'll see what my mood is Sunday morning when I go to purchase a ticket.
Right.
I love the Lions. So if you're someone who isn't a Patriots fan, I think you take the Lions outright win, not just cover +3.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions have the most efficient offense in the NFL after the first 4 weeks. They just literally can't stop anybody. They've given up 38 points. They gave up 45 last week to Seattle. I mean, their defenses can't stop anybody. Again, if it's Zappy, if it's Mac Jones, it's still the same receiving core that is not great. They have a good running game, but yeah, I like Detroit a lot. Tampa at your Atlanta Falcons. Falcons have covered 4 straight weeks. That's a little just interesting gambling note. Atlanta is an 8.5 point dog. Where are you leaning this coming weekend?
Atlanta to cover. I like you just said. Said at the start of the year, Atlanta's my team to cover, and they've been doing it. I think we'll see what Brady brings this week. I mean, he's still got the injuries down in Tampa Bay. It's crazy right now. I know Julio Jones should be back as well, hopefully healthy. I see Beasley was in for a game and now he's retiring. That's interesting. Yeah. Tampa, there's a lot going on there, on and off the field.
Yeah.
To say the least. I don't know where Brady's head's going to be at. A couple throws last week did not look good.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's playing pretty good football. I think it's going to be a close game. It's a divisional game. It's an important game. Really is for both teams. I think if Atlanta can find a way to win this game, I mean, you never know. They could get on a run because
Atlanta's second place in the AFC South.
It's such a terrible division. We both know that.
Still, right? I don't care. At any point, they're second place.
Yeah, I like Atlanta to cover. I think Tampa wins the game. I think Atlanta covers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. They've covered 4 weeks in a row. Mariota just can't turn the football over, and they will cover. Cordero Patterson's out. That hurts. But they got a bunch of young running backs that came in last week. Huntley, Algier, who was good in college, who just can run the football. They still got to throw the effing football to Kyle Pitts. I don't know why they refuse to do that. Arthur Smith is pissing me the hell off. But anyway, Drake London's good. I mean, they have a good, like we touched on, they have a good offense. Brady will have Mike Evans. But again, they might make stupid plays. They turned the ball over twice. Brady fumbled last weekend against the Chiefs. They fumbled that kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's just pesky. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to cover this weekend. They'll lose by 5.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one. I think it's going to be a 5-4-4, 5-point game.
Jets or Dolphins at Jets. Dolphins a 3-point favorite.
I didn't think I'd be circling this one at the start of the year to watch, but I'm going to. Just picked up Teddy Bridgewater in fantasy.
Ooh, little waiver wire.
Yeah, I need it. My God, my fantasy team. That's for another topic. Every week I'm projected to win, and every week they just fumble the bag. Like I'm using that term a lot today, but my God, it's just so disappointing. It's a bad movie that you just can't turn off. Is my fantasy year. You have to watch it through, but you're just not enjoying any bit of it.
Right.
I think the Jets are going to win this game. I don't know why.
I do too.
It's in New York.
Yeah.
Their Jets are finding a way to win football games.
They're riding high.
I think I'm just so mad at the way Miami handled the last week with Tua that I just don't want to see them win. Even though I have picked up Bridgewater in fantasy. Their defense has not been good. And nope. I think the Jets are starting to find a little thing. They're starting to, chip on the shoulder. Hey, we're better than what people say. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs, but I think the Jets are going to win this football game.
The Jets are a talented team. They are. Like with Garrett Wilson, and I love their 2 running backs. You got Breece Hall, who was a stud in college at Ohio State Hawkeyes. And you got Michael Carter, who was really good at at North Carolina. They can play. They got receipt. Corey Davis seems to have found a new level of his play coming over from Tennessee. I'm with you. I like the Jets +3. Another underdog. I would take them outright to win. It's a gutsy. But again, Teddy Bridgewater is not exactly Drew Brees coming off the bench here. What you're hoping, I think he played decent in last week's Thursday night game. But I think the Jets are talented. Tyreek Hill is going to have he had a crazy game last week, and the Dolphins still lost to the Bengals. So he could get 150 yards receiving. You might have a great fantasy day with Bridgewater, and the Jets still might find a way to win this game.
Yeah, I'm on the Jets. I just like the fact that I think that they are starting to find a little bit of an identity, which we haven't seen that in a few years with the Jets. I think they're starting to find a little identity, and I think they find a way to win this game.
And credit to Robert Saleh, because he got made fun of for that receipts comment, but I think his players like him. Like you can tell they want to play hard for him, and I think he's rubbed off on them. So kudos to him for finding some success that nobody's had there since really Rex Ryan.
For sure. No, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to try to watch a bit of that game. Sunday we play. I think it's 12 p.m. in the semis.
Right.
And win or lose, we play Monday afternoon in the gold or bronze. So we're going to be able to, once we're done all of our coaches' meetings, kind of going over a game plan for the next day, there's going to be a little football mixed in as well. So don't get me wrong. I will be working a lot this weekend. Yeah. My main focus on winning an Atlantic Championship. Don't get me wrong. I will be 100% focused on that. That being said, I will find a way to watch a little football as well.
That's fair. A game I don't think either of us want to watch, probably won't. Washington football team against the Tennessee Titans. Titans -2.5.
This game doesn't interest me at all. Like someone could give me free tickets to go watch this game, and I don't think I'm going.
Right.
Neither one of these teams interests me one bit. I really could not care less about this game. That being said, I think Tennessee wins this game.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where I'm at with it. There's just really nothing either one of these teams are showing me to give any real talking points on them.
Let me try to spice it up for you. If the football team loses, they'll be 1-4. Does Ron Rivera get fired on Monday?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And as bad as it is to say, and I just think that I I don't think that they're as talented as the talk around. I just don't think they have a very talented team, and it's shown Carson Wentz just this guy just he's just not it. Like
No, he's
they
not.
he's just not it. That's not the coach's fault to me.
Right, right.
I don't think they fire Rivera. Maybe at the end of the year, but firing Rivera, what's that going to do? When you fire a coach,
Your season's
normally you fire a coach because you think that during the year, if you fire a coach during the year, it's because it's so bad and it just something had to change, or there was a situation where the coach can't be there any longer.
right.
I don't think that's the case for this team where they're just god awful. And if they are god awful, sometimes they let it go all year and they just make the change at the end of the year. But it's not like and then the other reason you fire a coach is you think you have a decent team and they're not getting as much out of it. Look at the Blue Jays this year, right?
Right.
Where that change first in the wild card going in the playoffs. I don't think firing Rivera fires up this team and they go, 7-3 to end the year.
Right.
So I think they let it ride the rest of the year.
Is there a coach on the hot seat that you said you just to your point that has a team that you think is better but is underperforming that could be fired?
I think maybe Denver.
Carolina to me.
Yeah, but Carolina. How long are they going to stick with Mayfield is the question.
Sam Darnold might be back next week. That's what Rule said earlier this week. So they'd have to start him this weekend, then they can consider going, making that change if they want.
Yeah, I would look at Carolina.
Because I think they're better. They're better than 1-3. They just are.
Like we said, though, there's just been so much bad football that even the bad teams are still 2-2 or 1-3, other than Carolina. But I don't think anyone right now but after week 5 is a big, like I said, a big week in the NFL season. If a team's 1-4, I don't think the football team, but I think you could see some shakeups.
Saints at Seahawks. Seahawks plus 5.5.
I mean, Geno is just balling out, right? Like,
I don't get this line. Why are the Seahawks? Like, to me, it should be a 3-point. Why are the Saints favorited?
And that's where I'm kind of at with this one too. What has the Saints done to give up to be given?
Nothing.
I know they're at home, but the Seahawks have looked like a better team. So
yeah.
I think on this one I'm going recency bias, and I mean I told you at the start of the year I think the Saints are just absolutely overrated.
They're frauds.
The Saints are frauds. I'm on the Seahawks plus 5. I might take the Seahawks to win this game.
Me too. I trust Geno Smith. He's my guy. I was like you the whole year. I said, why are people picking the Saints to win the Super Bowl? They're not even going to make the playoffs. They're 1-3. They're coming back from London. Long week. Jameis hasn't been practicing. It's going to be the red rifle again for the Saints and Andy Dalton. Geno's better than the red rifle. That's just a fact. You got some good running backs. Saints plus 5, Seahawks plus 5.5. You're getting 5 points against the Saints. Take it. Take them. Take the points.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I do, well, like we said, recency bias has me on the Seahawks, and for good reason. They've played better than what we thought they would be at the start of the year.
And I mean, they beat the Lions and they beat the Broncos too. Yeah, the Broncos were projected to be a really good team, and the Lions are the best offense in football, and they outdueled them.
For sure, and I think we have to tip our cap to someone you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Pete Carroll, coach. Pete Carroll's a great football coach. You saw it at USC. When USC was good, is Pete Carroll. We saw what he's done in the NFL. He's a great coach. It's crazy. He's the oldest coach in the league.
Still running around out there.
Still is, and you got to tip your cap to what he's doing down there this year with that team.
Biggest line of the weekend, and one of the biggest lines in recent memory. Pittsburgh at the Bills. The Bills are 14-point favorites. This is a college line. And wow, the Steelers are 14-point dogs. How the world has changed, Ryder.
Yeah, and is it funny? I don't think it's enough. I think it should be higher.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Kenny Pickett has thrown 3 interceptions, and he is the starter.
Yep. 0 touchdown passes.
They look bad. They look really bad. Their coach is not getting fired this year. Let's throw that one right out there.
No chance. No
That's
chance.
one that they could lose it the rest of the games this year. He's not going anywhere. The Steelers are just they need to they're in a rebuild, and it's a team we haven't seen in a rebuild probably. I mean, I'd say most of our football life watching football. I don't remember a time where the Steelers were terrible. I really don't in my whole career watching football. So I think people are trying to, it's hard to adjust when you haven't seen a team that's been good be bad. It's a lot like the Patriots right now for me.
Right. Agreed. I totally agree.
It's hard to see, but it's the reality of the situation. The Steelers stink. They are terrible. And I think the Bills just go out and absolutely demolish them. I really do. I think they beat them by 30. Maybe not 30, but they beat them by more than 14.
Yeah, I think they crushed them. I don't think Josh Allen has to play the whole game. Quite frankly, I think we'll see Case Keenum get a few snaps in this game for the Bills. Pittsburgh defense can't hold. Josh Allen needs a game where he just goes out there and dominates people like week 1 to get that confidence going. He's had some impressive wins. They're 3-1, don't get me wrong. But they're better than what they've shown on tape the last couple weeks. And they got Kansas City coming up, so they need a game to really, get their momentum back. So, yeah, I like the Bills to crush the Steelers. And if there's ever going to be a firing in Pittsburgh this year, it's because Matt Canada will be fired as offensive coordinator because that offense is ugly to watch.
It is. It is. They have just done nothing. And they have good weapons there, too. That's the thing. They have a good receiving core. It's not like you look at the receiving core and you ask who are their names because you know the receiving core. They have guys who can catch the football. You have Johnson. You have Claypool.
Yep.
You have one of the best running backs in the league, arguably, and you're wasting a lot of talent this year. It's tough to see, but I mean, I've never been a big Pittsburgh guy so I don't mind seeing it. I think the Bills beat them by 20 easy. I'll be on the Bills for sure.
Jags, Texans. Jags -7.
Man, I love what the Jags are doing defensively.
Yeah.
I like the Jags here, even though the Texans, I think, have been playing better than what we thought they would at the start of the year.
Right.
I think that number's right on at -7. I think that's a very tough number to bet on. I think the Jags are starting to get away from the Urban Meyer thing. They're away from the laughingstock of the league because of what happened last year. I like the Jags. I really do.
Me too. They had a tough week last week against Philly. It was a disaster of a game for Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. I think he'll bounce back against Houston. Like you said, Houston's a divisional game, but Houston's not a good football team. The Jags will get some confidence again. They'll get to 3-2, and to me, they should be the favorite to win this division now because they're better than Tennessee, and I think they're obviously better than Houston, and I think they're better than the Colts. So I like the Jags.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Carolina at the 49ers. 49ers -6.5.
Yeah, I'm on the 49ers here. I mean, look at what they just did on Monday night, sorry. Like, was it Sunday night or Monday night?
Monday night.
Monday night. Like, why is this only 6.5? This should be 10.
I know. It's fishy.
Something's up here. And to me, this is easy 49ers -6.5. Because we see what Jimmy G is in their offense. It's nothing special.
No.
It's chicken strips. His offense is chicken strips. That's what it is. He's throwing up, 225, 240. There's nothing special. It's not beautiful football, but it gets the job done, and they win football games.
Yeah, you get some off-brand dipping sauce. You get an interception in there, but you find a way to win the game.
Yeah, you got the French's ketchup instead of the Heinz. I'm on the 49ers here because Carolina, I mean, I said the first week of the year, I liked Carolina to win that football game. My God, was I wrong on that one. I apologize to the viewers.
They stink. Carolina stinks.
Who's worse, Carolina or Pittsburgh?
I think Carolina. I think. Their offense is horrible. Horrible. Baker.
Whose offense is worse, Carolina or Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
Hey, who puts up more points this week, Carolina or Pittsburgh?
Both defenses are really good, the Bills and the 49ers. I'm going to go Pittsburgh because I think the 49ers defense might be the best in the NFL.
Does either team score more than 10 points?
um, yes, because I think maybe it's like a garbage time situation for the Steelers. Like they find a touchdown late in the game to put up a touchdown. But it wouldn't shock me if either of them both don't get to 10 points because like both offenses are just so horrible.
For sure. And how about, I mean, we saw what Samuel could do when he gets the ball in his hands on
Yeah.
night.
God.
I'm on the 49ers, easy, -6.5. I can't believe that's the line for that game.
Cardinals at Eagles. Eagles -5.
This line is crazy, in my opinion, too. I think I just can't stand the Cardinals. To me, this is a -7 at least. I'm on the Eagles -5 for sure. The Eagles have looked. We talked about it to start the year. The Eagles could be one of the best teams in the league. I think I had the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl. I believe at the start of the year. Don't quote me on it. We can go back and watch the tape. I like what the Eagles are doing. I mean, it sucks that Smith is doing nothing in fantasy for me. Absolutely nothing. But the Eagles are a great football team, and I'm on the Eagles here.
Me too. The fact that they were 7-point favorites against the Jags, but now they're only 5 points against the Cardinals makes no sense to me whatsoever. I like the Cardinals are frauds too. They think they're 2-2. They're tied for the divisional lead, but they're not that good. Their offense is completely erratic. They don't do anything really that well, quite honestly, on offense. They don't have a plan. Cliff Kingsbury, his ass should be on fire because he's a fraud too. But yeah, Eagles -5, hammer them. Rams and the Cowboys. Interesting game this weekend. I thought the line would shift a bit after the Monday night game, but I have the Rams -4.5 going into this game Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I have as well.
I thought it would pivot more towards the Cowboys. Like maybe it might just be a -3 situation for the Rams.
Yeah, I think it's just the Rams just did not look good.
Yeah.
Their offense, and I mean, other than throwing to Cooper Kupp, they didn't really look for anyone else on the field.
That's all they got.
And man, I don't know. To me, I think it's not a big enough story. Is what Cooper Rush is doing for Dallas. This guy, worst case scenario, he earned himself potentially a starting job somewhere else next year,
or a Chase Daniel like backup money.
Yes, this guy's going to get paid next year. But man, I got to tip my cap to this guy, and I got to tip my cap to, the Dallas Cowboys. They're still in the mix. And man, if this guy wins, Jug, if he wins, that's a big game. That's the game of the week.
Yep.
5:25 our time. Game of the week in America. If he can win this game against the defending Super Bowl champions, I'm telling you, man, they're going to have a tough conversation to have with Dak Prescott.
He'll be 5-0 as a starter because he won one game last year. But even if he wins this game, they go back to Dak, right? Like I don't think there's a debate to me anyway. To me, there's no decision. Dak's a way better quarterback. Do you think it's I don't think it's a tough call at all.
Oh man, I think it's a tougher call than you think. I really do, because I think you go back. I think you do go back to Dak, but I think it's a short leash because at the end of the day, Jug, it's about winning football games.
Yeah, I agree.
It's about winning football games, and as much as the fans love Dak Prescott down there, they do love him. I think they love the fact they're 3-1 a little bit more.
Right.
And it's a conversation for sure, especially if he wins. Now, if he loses, it's
a moot point.
100% back to Dak. It's nice to know you have a great safety valve in Rush. You pay him good money to keep him around, or he goes somewhere else at the end of the year and becomes a starter somewhere else. But I think if he wins on Sunday, it becomes a way bigger conversation because, I mean, he's doing things that, and it's not like Dak put up a lot of points his first week before he got hurt, man. He did not look great.
No, he didn't.
So
I like the Cowboys.
I do think they go back to Dak, but I want to see the Cowboys win. I want to see that happen. I think the Rams are gonna win. I don't know. It's a good game. It's a
Yeah.
good game to watch if you can.
I got the Cowboys plus 4.5.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Recency bias. Cowboys have looked better than
That
the
pass
Rams.
rush, the Rams' offensive line is a disaster right now. It's Cooper Cup or bust. Like they have nothing. Allen Robinson cannot separate to save his life. Their running game is non-existent. So I think Stafford's got sacked the most of any quarterback in the NFL. Like it could be a long day for him if they can't figure some stuff out. Good Sunday night game. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Cincinnati plus 3.
Exciting game to watch. I think this one's going to be a great Sunday night football game.
Yep.
I am on tough line. I think it's two really good teams. I think this could be another playoff matchup. I am on Baltimore, I think. I think I'm on Baltimore just because I think that the offensive line for Cincinnati still has some holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Baltimore can get to them, get to Burrow. I like that Baltimore is throwing the ball more this year than they have.
Right.
And I'm on Baltimore on this one. I just think that they're a little bit better of a team, even though their defense is sometimes questionable. We saw what happened against the Fish, and we know that Cincinnati has some weapons. They have Chase, they have Burrow. Big game for both teams. I think the winner of this game probably wins the division, would be my guess.
Right.
I think Baltimore is just a little bit better of a team right now.
Yeah, I agree. I like Baltimore in this game. Cincinnati's offense still hasn't impressed me. Burrow, they're just throwing little quick passes. They're not explosive on offense. It seems very conservative to me, so I haven't been impressed. Lamar's had to do the world. He finally had a bad game last week, and people kind of, whenever Lamar plays bad, it's always worse than anybody else playing bad. So I that gets on my nerves. But I think he bounces back. They get a big win. He's playing fantastic. So Lamar will do Lamar type things out there. And I agree. I think both these teams are starting to come together. Cincinnati is playing better. They're 0-2. They're now 2-2. Baltimore's 2-2 with a pair of losses that you could argue they both should have won. They should have beat the Fish for sure, and they could have easily beaten Buffalo last week. So I think they need this game, and I think Baltimore comes out on top.
Yeah, I think Baltimore is just a little bit better, and I'm on Baltimore. Great Sunday night game, though.
Monday night, we got Chiefs at your Raiders. Raiders plus 7.
Who's been more disappointing, my Raiders or your Colts?
Colts.
I think the Colts, too, because I think the Raiders are in every game. They just, like I said, they can't win, but they're in every game.
Right.
What's the line on this one again, Jug? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Chiefs minus 7.
Oh, man, I think this is an easy pick, unfortunately. I think it's Chiefs all day. I think the Chiefs are just such a better football team. And I think that their offense has shown that they can do things without Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
I like the fact that they're spreading the ball around. I think the run game looked really good last week.
Hell yeah.
Blair, easy pick for me, over 37.5 yards. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs double digits in this one.
Yeah, the Raiders have only beaten Mahomes once since he entered the league, and they have never beaten Mahomes at Arrowhead. So, yeah, I like the Chiefs as well. I mean, this number, I thought it'd be higher. I thought it'd be 8 or 9, but again, they're a one-win team against the Chiefs, who I think are a Super Bowl favorite. They'll win this game by 2 touchdowns. It's a decent Monday Night Football game because it's another divisional game. I don't mind. I like watching the Raiders play, quite frankly, so I never get just disappointed to see them on TV. I'm just happy I don't get to see the Broncos again this weekend. So, yeah, I mean, another thing, why are the Broncos getting so many damn platform games? They're in Monday Night Football in 2 weeks again. They got Thursday night. They're on Sunday. Oh, they're horrible to watch. I'm sick of them.
And it's funny because I don't think we would have had this conversation a month ago.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's crazy how many things can change in a month in the NFL. But they go out tonight and put on a performance. I hope they don't because, like I said, I'm on the Colts. But
on the Colts.
I mean, things can change very quickly in the NFL over the scene of a week. So let's see what happens after tonight. We may be having a different conversation tomorrow.
Yeah, week 5, I think it's an interesting week. There's some good games in there, some good gems that you can find, and some good betting lines that I think you can really make some money this weekend. We didn't talk last week, Ryder, but what was the most surprising result in college football last weekend for you?
Man, good question. Good question. What didn't I guess not what surprised me is that all the best teams are still the best teams, I think.
Right.
Texas A&M's a tire fire, which I love to see.
Yes.
Oklahoma losing they lost last week, didn't they?
55-24.
Yeah, they got smoked. So
the Horned Frogs are back.
Yeah, TCU, and that's an exciting game this week.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting game this week. Yeah, Oklahoma got smoked, and like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch much college football last weekend. I was away coaching.
Right.
But I remember seeing that Oklahoma loss, and that surprised me, especially by that number against TCU. I think the one thing we see though is that the cream has still risen to the top. I still don't know about Michigan. I still am not sold on Michigan.
They haven't played anybody yet.
And I think the crazy thing, another thing too, was Georgia snuck by with a win there.
Yeah.
And that's the best teams need to find a win. That's going to happen in college football. You're going to have a game. If you're a really top team, you're going to have one or two a year where it's a close game. You can't demolish everyone. So the fact that Georgia won that game, it doesn't really scare me because those things are going to happen throughout the year. I think it's so important that they won that game, though. Obviously, we know how much a loss matters and wins matter in college football.
Right.
But the cream has risen. I think there's a great slate for Saturday coming up.
I think it's a great weekend. I mean, you got number 8 Tennessee at 25 LSU. LSU is now ranked for the first time under your boy Brian Kelly. LSU plus, Tennessee. Will you bet on that game? LSU plus 3?
Yeah, I love Tennessee.
Yeah, me too.
I think Tennessee's offense is really good. I think Tennessee wins that game for sure.
Yeah, I like that one. How about College Game Day going to Kansas for the first time ever? They're not going to Texas A&M again to cover them and Alabama. They're not going to – where could they go? Maybe Indiana, or they could have went to LSU really to cover the Tennessee LSU game. But they're going to Kansas to cover number 17 TCU at number 19 Kansas. Both teams undefeated. Kansas plus 6.
Great game.
Yes.
I love the fact that we have two teams undefeated in the top 20 who aren't big names. I think this is exactly what's needed for college football, and I'm really happy that College Game Day's going there. I think they need to spotlight this game, make a big deal of it, which they are, which is very exciting for me. I mean, what the Horned Frogs did last week, I love this game. I think both offenses are really good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I hope it's a high-scoring game because I think it'd be good for college football if this is like a 38-41 game.
Yeah.
I like TCU, I think, to cover, maybe even win this game.
Right. Yeah. Clearly they like TCU scored 55 last week. Kansas beat Iowa State. They squeaked out a win. I've been riding Kansas the last couple weeks, and they've been making me money.
Yeah.
I'm going with Kansas plus 6 just because they've made me I got to stick with them. They're 5-0. My guy, Lance Leipold, he's ranked after being 3-30 their past 33 games at Kansas. So kudos to him. Another money game this weekend, Ryder. Number 11, Utah at number 18, UCLA. UCLA plus 3. Huge game for both teams.
And another big game. Big game for me. I think, it's a must. Obviously, every game's a must win in college football. But
must win for Utah.
Must win for Utah. If Utah gets 2 losses, they're done. Their season's over. UCLA, they've been struggling to put fans in I think that's been the biggest talk about their season. It's not the fact they're 5-0. It's the fact they can't get people to come to the Rose Bowl.
Right. I'll go. We could go.
I'll go for sure. I'd be there.
Yeah.
Uh, Great for UCLA. Massive game. I think Utah's just a really good football team.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm on the Utes. I'm on the Utes.
yeah. I'm on the Utes as well. I think they're a better team. I think kudos to Chip Kelly though, because he was
Yes.
doubted from the beginning. He's on the last year of his deal. He should get a new deal at UCLA. Continue to build that program because you can build it quick now in college football, and he's 5-0 in a tricky Pac-12. Do you know the line for the Alabama game, or do you want me to tell you?
I think it's 24.
24 and a half,
24. Okay, so
Alabama.
yeah.
The grudge match of the year, the big game that everybody thought was going to be interesting. A&M's already got 2 losses. They're 24 and a half point dogs against Alabama. Woof.
Yeah, you know what scares me though is for some
Bryce
reason
Young.
as bad as Texas A&M is, they always find a way to play. This game's going to be closer than 24. I do think so. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think I'm going to bet this game because I think it could easily be 45 points for
right.
win for Alabama, beating them by 40, 45. But this could be a one-score game. As crazy as to say, I just feel like, and then people will be like, "Well, actually, Texas A&M isn't that bad." So, I
It's
think
like that
Alabama.
Auburn game. It's like that Auburn game against
Yes,
Alabama a few years ago there, remember? Yeah.
yes, and I'm gonna get to that with Auburn and I think they're playing. Oh my gosh, the Ducks this week, aren't they?
Or Oregon?
Oregon, isn't that the
Yeah, I
matchup?
think
So and
so.
there's another one where I think that's going to be a close game because teams like Auburn, teams like Texas A&M, they're never there, but they always find a way to play in big games, close matchups. And
Right.
I think this game is going to be closer than 24 points. I don't think they're very good, but I think they're going to play Alabama tough.
A game I'm going to gamble on that I like. I like North Carolina at Miami. Miami -4. I like North Carolina +4.
Could see a lot of points in that one.
Yeah.
See a lot of points. That could be an over. Um, Yeah, I like that game. Like I said, there's a lot of good football games on this week. I like the Notre Dame game as well to watch. I'm excited for that.
BYU. Yeah. No, it's a good
Yeah,
one.
BYU is a good team, and I think it's a really good test for Notre Dame to. I mean, let's be honest, Notre Dame isn't going anywhere this year,
Right.
but they're starting to play a little bit better. And if they can get a win against the top 25 team, I think it's great for the program.
It would be a huge win, and I think they'll be ranked if they win this game come Monday. I think they'll
Oh, they'll
get it.
find a way to sneak Notre Dame in the top 25.
They love doing
Why do you
that.
think LSU's in the top 25? There's probably a team that's a little bit better that's 26.
Right. Yeah. Are Jack Collinsworth and Jason Garrett the worst broadcasting duo of them all?
Oh, if they're not, they're a close second.
They're
They're right up.
bad. They're bad, man.
I
That Notre
can't.
Dame broadcast, I have to mute it. I can't do it.
They're not. Give them give it a little longer. Like I said,
I'm done
no,
with it already. They suck.
it hasn't been very good, has it?
No, it's bad. It's like their football team. It's not real good.
It's not enjoyable to listen to, and I mean, that's not a very good thing. If you're trying to draw people in, you need a good broadcast. It
And I
does
feel
make
bad because I like Jack and his dad is Chris and he was so good, but I'm not. It's not crisp.
And the thing is, when it comes to these college football games, there's so much going on at once that you need a good
Yeah.
broadcast. You need something to, decipher because people are going to pick and choose. You can't
Right.
watch it all, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, they haven't been good, but no, there's a lot of good college football. And question for you, Jug? Do you see any of the undefeateds losing this week?
So Michigan not going to lose to Indiana. They'll crush them. Tennessee, LSU. I think Tennessee will win that game. Like, does UCLA count? Or are they too high of a seed?
No, they're undefeated. I'd count them.
Okay, so UCLA, I think they will lose this weekend. Washington State, USC is an interesting game to me. I think that's a sneaky trap game. It might be a game I bet on for. I think USC will win it. However, I think Alabama wins. Ohio State, they might be idle this weekend.
Ohio State's off this weekend.
Yeah, they're idle, so yeah, they can't lose. Kansas or TCU will lose, so there's an undefeated team that will go down. Penn State is playing a weak school, I believe. They'll win this weekend.
To me, game of the week, 100% in my opinion, is the USC sneaky game. I think USC's been exciting to watch.
Yeah,
USC's making me money.
right,
They've covered every line, I believe.
right.
USC, and I think Washington State's a good football team.
They are. They are. Yep.
I think that's a great game to watch at night.
Me too. Well, Saturday night you got like on CBS you got the Alabama game. On NBC you have the Notre Dame game. On Fox I think it's USC Washington State. I believe or it's another. There's another game there at like 8:30 kickoff, and then there's a ABC Clemson Boston College at 8:30. So you got four games 8:30. So that's a money schedule Saturday night with MLB playoffs.
Oh, it's a great weekend for sports.
Yeah.
Awesome weekend for sports. I love Wild Card Weekend. You're right in the heart of football. NHL starting up next week.
Well, it starts tomorrow, actually.
Starts tomorrow. Yeah, sorry. Starts this weekend. You got the NBA starting up. Like, it is a very exciting time to be a sports fan. Golf is picking back up. It's great.
Yeah, I'm a good Canadian boy. Won the Sanderson Farms last weekend, so his second PGA Tour win. Before I let you go today, your Rangers, do they reach the Stanley Cup final this year?
This would be the first year where I could actually say I think they really do have a chance. I didn't think so last year. I think that this year I can confidently say that not saying they confidently make the Stanley Cup final. That's a too bold of a prediction. I can confidently say they're in the mix of the top 6 to 7 teams in the league. And I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the East.
Will they win the Metro?
I think they win the Metro.
Yeah, me too.
I think they win the Metro. I mean, Tampa's still really good. Florida, what's Florida going to look like this year?
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto's always going to be – they're going to be in the playoffs.
They're lurking. They're lurking.
I think Ottawa is sneaky, could sneak in. I don't think that they're going to – I think the Rangers are much better than Ottawa. But Carolina, what are they going to do this year? I like the Rangers to make it to the Eastern Conference Final again. I can confidently say that I would – and if you make it to the Eastern Conference Final, you're right. You're very close to the Stanley Cup.
5% chance of winning the Cup.
Exactly, right? So I think they're a top 6, 7 team in the league. I think the West is stronger than the East this year.
Really?
I do. And here's why. Because I think that – I don't think overall the whole conference is stronger, but I think that the top 4 teams in the West are better than the top 4 teams in the East.
There's some good teams in the Central.
If you look at – Minnesota's good. I think Nashville's good. I think Colorado's really good. Calgary's good. Edmonton's good. LA Kings are pretty good.
Yep.
I think the bottom in the West is weak. The bottom of the West is really weak. You got San Jose, you got Arizona, you got Seattle, Anaheim. You got some teams that aren't very good, but I think that the top end of the West is better than the top end of the East.
Yeah, that's fair. You mentioned the Canadian teams out west. I like St. Louis a lot personally. I think they're going to have another really good season. Colorado is still there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. I think there's some interesting storylines, and there's less bad. Like last year, the NHL regular season really was underwhelming because you knew who was making the playoffs from the East in December, and that's not being hyperbolic. It was done. Like teams had 20-point leads. I don't think you'll see that this year. Detroit's improved. Ottawa's improved. My Devils are a little bit improved, I think. I think they'll be better. Buffalo's improved. Like every team's gotten a little bit better. So it'll be more competitive. I think meaningful games will be played into March, April, which is all you can hope for.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited, man. I'm excited as a sports fan for the next month. And it's just a very good time to be a sports fan, the month of October.
Well, buddy, thanks for finding the time today. Always appreciate it. And best of luck this weekend. Bring us home an ACC title, and good luck with your coaching debut down there.
I appreciate it, Jug. Thanks for having me on, bud. I'm sure we'll be sending some texts this weekend back and forth. Always appreciate making time for me to come on here, and looking forward to a good weekend in Moncton sprinkle in a little college and NFL football in between some coaching time. So thanks again. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend with your family, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone listening.
Cheers, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving.
See ya.
Thank you to Matt Wright for joining, as he usually does on a Friday. Real fun discussion today. Lots to get into. Like I said, the month of October is a great month. I think October or April are the best months of the sports calendar because there's just so much content. There's so much to get into, so much to discuss. Baseball playoffs this weekend. I'll get into that tomorrow. We're gonna do our Metropolitan Division preview tomorrow on the show. We're gonna have that discussion about the baseball series. Again, 1:00 first pitch tomorrow for the Cleveland Guardians Tampa series, but we'll get into that. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about the pitching matchups for this weekend, what to expect. So Metro preview tomorrow. We'll recap Thursday Night Football. We're going to talk about we'll also talk about the baseball. We'll get into other storylines from the NHL as we head into the last weekend of the preseason. Technically, the NHL season starts tomorrow afternoon with San Jose Preds. So that's happening tomorrow. So lots to get ready for tomorrow prior to a big sports weekend. So we'll be back tomorrow, a little earlier than we were today, but we'll be back tomorrow on a Friday. Until then, cheers. This is To The Point.